In this chapter, we'll look at what happens when elements are combined together.
An element is a substance made up from only one type of atom. All the particles are the same. When chemical reactions occur, the atoms can join together to form compounds. There are many different ways that different atoms can join together, meaning there is a wide range of new substances that can be produced from a relatively small number of elements.
A compound is defined as a substance made from atoms of two or more elements that are chemically combined together. This means it's not possible to separate them by physical methods, such as filtering or distilling. When the atoms of elements combine, they can do this in one of two ways. Both of these ways involve the electrons of the atoms.
Metals combine with non-metals by forming ionic bonds. This is the transfer of electrons from the metal atom to the non-metal atom. After this has happened, the atoms become oppositely charged. The metal is positively charged and the non-metal is negatively charged. The attraction between the opposite charges means that the atoms are held together.
Non-metals bond to one another in a different process called covalent bonding. This does not involve the movement of electrons from one atom to another, but instead the atoms share the electrons. When atoms share electrons, they're held together in pairs or small groups known as molecules.
When the elements join together to form a compound, they're completely changed. The compound is a totally new substance and has very different properties from the elements from which it's made. For example, water is a compound made from the two elements hydrogen and oxygen. Both of these elements are gases at room temperature and are highly reactive. Hydrogen gas is extremely flammable. In contrast to this, water is a liquid at room temperature, is relatively unreactive and can be used to put out fires.
It's also very difficult to get back to hydrogen and oxygen as elements once they've formed a compound together. This is very different from the situation with a mixture of substances. For example, think about salt and water. Here, the properties of each substance remain relatively unchanged. Solid salt and salt solution both taste salty. Water and salt solution are both liquids at room temperature. It's also fairly easy to separate the salt from water by heating.